Okay, so today I'm working on something a little different. I'm going to attempt to make some homemade Swiffers, duster thingamabobbers, and then I have a duster dry dusting mop thing that I'm going to try and make some covers for too. I hate paying for something that I use once and throw away. So what I did is I took an empty cereal box. This is the other part of it. Captain Crunch, yeah, not the best cereal, but hey. And I took the handles that we have. We have one long extended handle and then this short one. They're both the same on the end. And I can't do this with one hand. We have 2 of these refills left. So I wanted to get this done before we ran out completely. But I put it on the handle just to kind of get an idea of where the handle is in it, because I like the 360 dusters better than just a regular duster. And so then I took and placed it on top of the cardboard, and then I just traced around it. I did go a little bit bigger on all sides just because I know I'm going to need some kind of seam allowance, and I'm horrible about gauging that. So if it ends up being a little smaller than this, I'm fine with it. And then after, I don't have my tripod out here, so sorry. After I did that, I traced the actual handle size and then I cut it out. And the reason I did that was because I'm going to need to mark channels for where I need to sew to keep the handle inside of it. And I figured this was going to be the easiest way. And what I'll do is I'll mark the line, but then when I actually sew, I'll sew just outside of that marking. To try to make sure I have enough room in there for the handle. So I've got my little template thingamabobber made, and I'm going to start. I've got flannel here, which I'm planning on doing a combo of flannel and fleece. These 2 are both fleece, and then I picked up a 3/4 inch remnant. I figured if it was just for cleaning, I didn't really care if it had a print on it. So I'm going to probably use this first along with some of my flannel. And try and do a combo of the 2 just to kind of give it as much dusting power as possible. And then for my dry mop thing, dry duster thing, whatever you want to call it, sweeper, I think is what it's called. I may use some of these too. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to try them all in one day or just start with the duster and then, you know, see how that goes first. So that's where I'm at right now. Again, I don't have my tripod out, or I would just record the whole process, but I think that would be kind of boring for a lot of people because I'm still trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing too. So I will bring you back as I get pieces cut out, and that way I can watch TV, and y'all don't have to watch it with me. All right, I'll see you back in a few. Okay, I'm back. So I've got my flannel cut out and my fleece cut out. Out of that 3/4 yards of fabric of the fleece, I was able to get 8 sets. And I've got 4 pieces of fleece and 4 pieces of, you can see the dust bunnies going around. Apparently I stirred up some dust. 4 pieces of flannel for each one. I did go ahead and cut the flannel smaller than the fleece because I was looking at this baby. I can't unstick it. And there is sections that is narrower. And I realize it's just on one side, but my plan is to put some on both sides so that it's kind of circular in shape. I don't know if that makes any sense. Hopefully it makes some kind of sense. So I just took off a couple, because I saw a lot of the directions said to like sew it on and then cut 1 inch off each side. And to me, that just seemed like a lot more work and a lot more fabric waste. So instead, I just cut my fabric 2 inches narrower and a bit shorter. I basically looked at my big template to see, you know, how far the handle actually went into it, and then I took a section of it off. So that is the plan, and that's how I'm gonna start on it. We'll see how well it works. Again, I've got enough to make 8 of them right now. They may end up being Christmas presents for people. I haven't quite decided that yet, but at this point I just want to try to get a couple of them made before the Bratzilla comes home from school today. So I will bring you back after I've got these sewn up. Okay, so here's what I've got so far. I took the 4 layers of fleece and sewed them down the center. And then I opened it up and figured out the rough placement of my handle and sewed along. This is where the end of the handle would stop. And I did sew a little bit longer than I needed to, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So I figured out where it would, roughly about where the handle would be inside the fleece, and I drew up a line with a marker, and then I sewed down that line, and I did that on both sides. And then after that, it's time to put on the flannel, which I have one finished already, so I figured I'd go ahead and record now. This one I did a little differently. I realized I was making more work for myself. I sewed 2 of the fleece line, 2 of them together down the center, added the channels, and then sewed the other 2 fleece on and the other flannel on. But it meant that I'm going back up and forth down the center like 5 times. So way more work than I needed to make it. And then once I've got all of them done, I'm going to kind of not fray, but I'm going to cut strips in these so that they grab onto dust and dirt better than without it. So I will bring you back once I have all of them finished and all of them cut. I'm just going to do the same thing with the rest of them now. I'm going to add the flannel to this one, 2 pieces on each side down the center, and get the rest of them sewn up. And I'll bring you back once I have them all snipped so you can see what the final product is. All right, I'll bring you back. I'm working on cutting up the strips. I've got a couple of them finished, so I thought I'd go ahead and share that. So these are the finished product. I've got some shorter strips of the flannel in there on both sides, and then the fleece, and I've cut basically each layer together. The flannel I did not pre-shrink. I figured it's going to fray, it's going to shrink, that's okay, it'll just add to whatever the word it is that I'm looking for. It'll add to the product, I guess, is the best way I could think to describe it. Because it's going to fray, and that'll give basically more grip. Now, this is a little bit longer than the handle, so it is kind of floppy on the opposite end, which really isn't necessarily a bad thing. It might make it easier to get into smaller areas if you needed to. So I did go ahead and, as I finished these 3, made sure that the handle fit on all 3 of them. So these 3 so far are good. And I know you're looking at it and I'm probably thinking, damn, Danielle, your sewing sucks. And I'm going to say, you're right. It's not perfect. It's okay. It's handmade. That doesn't have to be perfect. But if I can pull this off with my sucky sewing skills, that the only way to improve on is to continue to sew, then what's stopping you from trying it out? Really though, come on, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. But there you have it. There are the finished product. I will get these washed so that the flannel can start fraying. The fleece won't fray. I got marker all over my hand from drawing out the pattern. The fleece won't fray, but it will, shrink and up a little bit and tighten up as it's washed, just like any other fleece will do. And curl, so it'll again give it additional texture. And ooh, look, I snipped that spot right there. Whoopsie. But there you have it. That's the finished product. If I can find the end, I'm going to have to switch hands because I am right-handed, not left-handed. The trick is finding the right layer. So I was watching Elementary while I was clipping. So there's the finished item. And again, the flannel, apparently I'm flipping up dust because I can see the dust bunnies going. And the flannel will fray and shrink a bit as, after it's washed at least the first time. It'll continue to fray the more times it's washed. And there you have it. Like I said, the tip is a little floppy. But that could just make it a little bit easier to get into tighter areas. So that was my goal with making the flannel shorter as well, is to kind of give it a bit more texture so that it can get into tighter areas. So there you have it. I got some more to cut, so I'm going to get cutting. My hands needed a break, and I figured I'd go ahead and finish the video out. So there you have it. 3 done. I've got 5 left to do with my crappy scissors because my good ones aren't wanting to cut, which would not make them the good ones anymore, then would it? Huh. Very true. But I'm going to go give my hands a break, And I figured I'd go ahead and let you see the end result. There's my floppy little, actually kind of reminds me of like a little mini pom-pom. But there you have it. If you got any questions, leave them below. And again, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe so you can not miss my craziness. Do soap making, which I haven't done that in a little bit, but you know, do soap making, cleaning, DIYs, projects of the day, pretty much anything that we've got going on that I think would be interesting. I record and pass it along. So there you have it. There's my project for today is the DIY Swiffer dusters. Have a good one.